Hey guys, welcome back to Ultimate S&S. I know what you're thinking. You seen that title and you said, how in the world are you prepping for 1 month worth of food on $10 a month? That doesn't even make sense. Well, understand when it comes to prepping, you want to make sure you have a base prep, a foundation to build on. That's important to anything in life, whether you're building houses, faith, and even your gardens and stuff, guys. You need that good foundation. So how do you do it? What do you do? What's the secret to that? Well, I want to show you what that secret is real quick. And that is buying these 8-pound bags of beans. Now, these are pinto beans. Now, they come in all varieties, so if you don't like pinto beans, go buy the beans you want. I do pintos, I do limas, I do black beans, I do, kidney beans, you name it, they have them out there. $5 for an 8-pound bag. So you buy 2 bags of that, you have 16 pounds of beans. If there's 2 people in your group, 2 people in your family, that's going to feed you for a month. That's going to last actually a little longer than a month. We're going to call it a month though. And that's going to be a good base for you. So then when you're doing your foraging, or you have your chickens or your quail and you're getting your fresh eggs, or maybe you have rice put back as well, or whatever, maybe you're going out fishing and stuff like that, you already have your base prep taken care of. It costs $10 a month. That's it. So if you have an extra $10 a month, you need to start focusing on buying some of these. And the reason I say that is because the prices of everything else is going up, okay? And you need a good base for your diet, something that's going to give you a lot of the nutrients and stuff that you need. And if you're going out and all you're buying is to dump out of box meals, to throw it in a microwave meals and stuff like that, you're going to run out of money really quick. And you're eventually going to get to a point where you're starved, and you need to kind of start learning how to cook the old-fashioned way. And this is one of the things that, if you ever watch Western movies, you ever talk to old timers and stuff, there was some staples they always had. Beans was the main staple they had, because you can survive on them. You can survive on just that if you need to. Now, I don't want to, because obviously everyone that eats beans a lot, it's going to give you bad gas. Now, I don't have to deal with the gastrointestinal pains too much, but because you can use Beano, and what that does, it doesn't eliminate the fact that you're going to have gas. It just keeps from being held in your stomach, so you're dealing with those cramps and stuff. But it doesn't give your partner, or the person who's near you or closest to you, doesn't do them any favors, because you're going to be releasing. So yeah, I didn't intend for this to be a fart video, but you can't talk about beans without talking about farts. So they call it the musical fruit, guys. But I think it's important that you realize that when you look at the dietary fibers and stuff like that, we'll kind of read what's on this here for you real quick. But and by no means am I a scientist or anything like that. So a serving size as a quarter cup is what they call it. Now we eat larger than a serving size, but you're going to have 22 grams of carbohydrates. You're going to end up with around 10 grams of dietary fiber. That's quite a bit. That's pretty good. Then you end up with 40 milligrams of calcium, 1.8 milligrams of iron, 490 milligrams potassium. So that's something that you could look at and think, okay, well, that's pretty good that you have all that kind of stuff. That's your base. Then you can start building off that for your vitamin C's and things like that, based off maybe you're finding berries that you're out, foraging or whatever the situation is. It's up to you to figure out what you want to add to your prep. So I'm just showing you a base prep, $10 a month. You're not going to starve to death. Now, I wouldn't recommend just only eating beans ever for the rest of your life, because you're going to need to add some other stuff to that, guys. But this is a good base to build off of. So if you're not getting your food set up, you're not getting stockpiled on food, then you're going to be having a very rough time here pretty soon, because I don't know if you've been looking at some of these prices around here at grocery stores, but things are going insane. Now, this 8-pound bag used to cost $3 about 6 months ago. Now it's $5. So what I expect is here in the next few months, if you can even find them, because mind you, the 10-pound bags that I really wanted to get, they're always sold out. But you can get the 8 pounds, and even the 1 pounds are getting harder and harder to find. But a pound of these costs $2. So when you start finding 8-pound for $5, should tell you, value right there. Let's do a little value shopping, and that's where it's at. Now you can add rice and things like that in here to your prep still, and that's going to help you out when you start adding noodles and stuff as well. The content of the fiber that's in these beans is going to help push a lot of that stuff out. So maybe just like, I got a lot of canned hams and spams and whatever types of stuff that I can add to that. Hey, that's great. Understand that the cholesterol in these beans, it's not going to be that bad on your body. It's actually going to be good cholesterol. It's going to lower your bad cholesterol, raise your good cholesterol. That's what beans do for you. It's also going to help open up some of your arteries. Now, when I say open up, it gives some elasticity back to them. So at least this is what it says online. So it has a lot of really good health benefits there for you. But the greatest thing about it is, unless you just have no sense of humor, it's going to give you something to laugh at. Because when you're sitting there and your buddy, maybe it's your spouse, your children, or whatever, and they're sitting there and they're blowing, and you get to blow one back at them, then hey, you know what? It's always a good time. Maybe not in the smell factor, but that's just the way things are. But I hope you've been paying attention to what we do around here, because let me tell you guys, if you're not getting to a self-sustainable type system, or at least getting some basic preps in, it's coming down to the wire. We're seeing reports come in from farmers and stuff all over the nation, actually all over the world, not just this nation, Europe, even over in parts of Asia. And they're talking about the way that their crops, they were expecting 50% of what they typically get. Those numbers are coming in close to like 38 to 42% now. So that's pretty bad. When you start looking at, there used to be a surplus, the surplus is gone, and now we're looking at a decline in what we're able to put in. And they were saying it would take 3 years of abundant bumper crops. That means, at least 1.5 times over what they usually can produce to get us back on track. We're not even making as much as we used to make. So it's going to be getting pretty bad, pretty dire here soon. So with the wheat and things like that. So you need to make sure that you're prepping. I would recommend putting cornmeal back. Hey man, if you don't want to spend money on cornmeal, you can get a bag of corn. Now, corn is corn. I don't know if you realize that. A lot of that cornmeal, what you don't realize is that's dried corn that comes in out of a field. And then what it does is it gets boiled down into what they call an nixtamal. All right, so I used to work at a corn mill at one time, and they soften it up down to about 21%. It's not where it's so mushy, but it's kind of where when it crushes, it makes a powder. And if you ever pay attention to a lot of the Hispanics and stuff in neighborhoods and stuff, they will show you how to make your own cornmeal. That's very easy to do. You just take dried corn, you boil it down a little bit, not to the point where it's mushy, and then you mill that stuff down, and then guess what? You have fresh cornmeal, guys. And that's what I would recommend doing. If you go buy cornmeal in the store, it's got all the extra stuff added to it, that's fine. But you can get it cheaper by buying like a 50-pound bag of corn, or allowing your corn to mature and dry out on the cobs, and then just cycling that down into your own bags as well. So those are a few options for you. Now, when it comes to flour and stuff like that, you could try to grow millet, you could try to grow flour and grains and different stuff. Now you're going to need to be able to mill that stuff down and all. There's a lot of work to that. So sometimes it's easier just to buy it into the big tubs or the bags, and then move it to some kind of an airtight type of a system, so, and store that long term. So that's going to be up to you on how to do that. But those are a few suggestions, recommendations. But hope everyone's having a great week. I'm going to hop off here.